Hello everyone and welcome to the video. If you're new here, hi, my name's Louise, and if you're returning, welcome back. In this video, I'd love to share with you some meals inspired by spring and summer, and we're going to start off with a delicious baked cheesecake. My husband actually requested this one, and it is a homemade baked cheesecake. He is absolutely mad for cheesecake. So on the Sunday afternoon that I had off, I decided to make it completely from scratch. My husband is particularly fond of Scotch fingers and so requested that I make the biscuit base out of Scotch fingers. I must say it was quite therapeutic to smack all these biscuits into piles of crumbs. I wouldn't consider myself a baker because you need to be very precise with all the measurements, and you need to have things at certain temperatures and cook at certain times, which isn't really my cup of tea. I just sort of like to do ad hoc, chuck some stuff in and see what comes out. But I think both my sisters have been granted the gift of baking. Whenever they bake something, it comes out tasting so delicious and looks so good. I think the love of cooking and baking and all things food runs deep within my family's veins. We are all gifted in some type of cooking or baking skill. For example, my mum is very good at teaching us girls the traditions of cooking, especially the meals that were passed down to her from her parents. She encouraged experimentation with food from a very young age. I remember when me and my sister were in the kitchen one day when we were very young. We were still in preschool, I would imagine, and we were making a mess with all the baking ingredients like the flour and the oatmeal and the sugar. And rather than get angry with us because we were using all the really good ingredients that you could use for baking, she just let us rip with all of the stuff we had there, and we called it mix and mess from that point on, because you made a lot of mess when you were mixing up those ingredients. Instead of using the good ingredients, we used the ingredients that were going off in the fridge or going off in the pantry from that point forward. Needless to say, we didn't eat our creations, but it was certainly fun seeing how combining different types of materials and foods together came up with something new. I think that my dad's special cooking talent is cooking anything on the barbecue. I mean, he cooks very, very well in the kitchen on the stovetop, but when he is in front of the barbecue, magic happens. I do realise that it is a bit over the top to be putting gold leaf on the cheesecake, but I saw it at the shops when I went shopping for all the ingredients during that week's grocery shopping, and I couldn't resist. I don't know if you know this about me, but gold is my favourite colour. The concept of being able to eat metal blew my mind, so I had to buy it and I had to try it. I think this was about the third or fourth time that I've made cheesecake in a pressure cooker, and I highly recommend it. It's a very simple, easy recipe to make, and the end result is absolutely delicious. I found the recipe for this particular cheesecake online, so what I'll do is I'll link it down below in the description, and any other recipes that I recommend in this video I'll also link down in the description box if you're interested in making them. The cheesecake turned out great in the end, and my hubby was one happy customer. The next day I thought I would make myself a nice healthy lunch with lots of fresh vegetables. I only just recently started using this vegetable combination. It's spring onions, cucumbers, carrots, coriander, and sometimes tomato. If these ingredients sound familiar, they're all the ingredients used in a Vietnamese pork roll, or I think they call it a banh mi. The combination of the carrot and the cucumber, the spring onions, the coriander. I know it's not a lot of people's thing, but I absolutely love coriander. I adore it. It's just so fresh to me, and it speaks to me. It tells me that it's summer, it's spring, the sun's out and shining, the breeze is blowing, the sea temperature's nice. It's just very reminiscent of those seasons. Because of my hubby, we tend to have a oversupply of croissants. I think he has a crippling croissant addiction. If there's not croissants in the house, he needs to go out and buy some more. I think he just really likes pastries and baked things. Anyway, because we had so many croissants in the house, I decided to make little mini croissant sandwiches with the ingredients plus a little bit of ham that we had in the fridge. I used a bit of Vietnamese spring roll sauce, which I think is just this sweet combination of chili and carrot, I want to say, as well as some mayonnaise to give it that banh mi flavour. I enjoyed this tasty meal with a nice cold glass of water. Sitting here quietly with my food gave me an opportunity to practice some mindful eating. It's where you don't have any distractions and you really pay attention to the food that you have in front of you. The flavors, the textures, the smells, everything about the food is considered and intentional. I find mindful eating enhances my appreciation of the food that I have and also makes me feel fuller after eating. Towards the afternoon, I thought it would be nice to have a little bit of a snack. I think it comes as no surprise to anyone that my husband chose these pastries. They have cheese and chives on the inside. The air fryer has been a fantastic addition to my kitchen. It has made making meals so much more easier and convenient, and I really can't praise it enough. To pair with my savory snack, I thought it would be nice to have a savory beverage of some kind, and so I decided to make these instant miso soup. What I particularly love about the air fryer and also the kettle and the microwave are the fact that they have very annoying sounds that play once the food is done, which really cuts through my hyper focus and allows me to remember, oops, I put something in the air fryer, or I turned the kettle on and I was going to make myself a cup of tea, or I've left something in the microwave. So if you have ADHD or you tend to be very forgetful, having these external cues remind you that you are in the process of cooking can be very helpful. This week's craft project was to frame some pressed flowers that I had sitting in my neuroscience book for about a year and a half. My husband had gotten them for me for our 10-year anniversary. I also have our very first anniversary flowers pressed and framed. I don't know what happened to the first flower, but whatever was in there ate away at the paper that it was pressed into. And it also ate away at some of the pages of my neuroscience book. So unfortunately, I've lost a flower and I've lost a book. If anyone is familiar with flower pressing and knows what happened, please let me know. I've pressed flowers before, over many years, and I have never seen this happen before. Perhaps there was some pollen or some yeast or something in there, but I don't know. It grew and it ate through everything, which is a shame. Regardless of this happening, I was able to salvage 2 of the flowers that I had pressed, and now they're in photo frames and serve as a reminder of the love that I have for my husband and the love that he has for me. Later in the evening, it was time to make some dinner, and I decided I was going to make a meal and a half. First of all, I washed some sushi rice, and then I decided to choose a wine from our vast collection of wine that we have gotten over the past few months. I decided to go with a Chardonnay that we had received as a Christmas present in 2020. Keeping with the theme of spring and summer, I decided to put some spring onions, some carrot, and also added mushrooms to the mix for this meal. I was on a little bit of a time crunch this evening because I had my fortnightly D&D session with my physio friends, and also my hubby was going to play badminton. So I did try and get everything made before he left. Unfortunately, he had to leave just as everything was finishing with its cooking process. I blame the star of the show, the salt and pepper squid. I thought it was only going to take 10 minutes to cook and therefore everything would be ready on time, but it actually took 20 minutes. While the squid was in the air fryer cooking, I also had my vegetables sizzling away, and I seasoned them with a little bit of pepper. I wanted to make a honey sauce, so I added some honey and some soy sauce. A splash of mirin and a bit of Chinese wine. When I felt the carrots were pretty much done and the squid was almost ready to add, that is when I decided to add the mushrooms. In the past I have overcooked mushrooms, but this time I wanted them to be nice and fresh and tender. I gave the squid a little bit of a flip so it could finish crisping up on the outside. And then added the squid to the fry pan. Finally, I turned the heat off and added the sauce to the squid and vegetable mix. I would have liked there to be a little bit more sauce and for the sauce to be a little bit more sticky, kind of like how it is when you get honey chicken or honey squid or honey prawns from Chinese, but I did not have the skills nor the ingredients to be able to do that. This was the first time I made this particular meal, and I think given the circumstances and the ingredients that I had on hand and the time crunch I was under, I did a pretty good job. The combination of the vegetables used plus the honey sauce definitely reminds me of summer and spring. Once dinner was all cooked, I was able to get myself set up in front of the TV for D&D night. I've recently started playing it with a group of uni friends who are also physios, like I said before, and we're all new to it, except for the game master. He's amazing and incredible and very experienced, and he helps us along. But it's very fun. It's slow paced, it uses your imagination and your ability to tell stories, problem solve, and work as a team member, if that's something that you want to do. If you're thinking about getting into D&D but you're not sure about it, I recommend giving a game or two a go and seeing how you feel. You never know, it may end up being your next new favourite thing. I don't normally wake up and make breakfast for myself during the week, especially during this quiet time where I'm not working as much as I used to. I definitely do go through the effort of making myself breakfast before I have work, say as a physio or as a dancer. That being said, if there's some leftovers in the fridge from the night before, I'll definitely get up and eat that in the morning. Unfortunately, there just haven't been leftovers, and so breakfast has sort of disappeared off my radar. I think I associate bacon and eggs with summer and spring because it's around the holidays where I actually do put the effort in to make myself more extravagant breakfast. And that's because I actually do have some time off around this part of the year to spend time in the kitchen cooking myself meals. I don't know why, but I do find making breakfast for myself is quite a chore. So if I can make it novel in any way, it's going to really appeal to my ADHD brain and make me want to do it, which is why I love putting all these different garnishes and sauces on it. One of my favorite things to do at the moment is put sriracha sauce on top of my eggs. I know it's probably not revolutionary, but I have just discovered it and I think it just has the best combination of flavors. For today's lunch, I really wanted to challenge myself and make something new. So instead of making sushi, I decided to make onigiri. I've never made it before, and I'm not exactly sure if this is how you make it, but it's how I made it today. I associate things like sushi and onigiri with summer because of their salty, seaweedy taste. It's reminiscent of the sun, the surf, and the sand. I also like the fact that I could utilize the leftover rice from the previous night's dinner in both my breakfast and my lunch for today. I really want to try and minimize food waste as much as possible, so if I can use leftovers in multiple meals, I'm winning. I've been very interested in Japanese cuisine ever since the Olympics midway through last year. And I've been watching this content creator on YouTube called Nami. She is a Japanese office worker and she loves to cook, and the meals that she makes are absolutely divine. I will link her channel in the cards right now so that way you can go over there and check out her channel. She's been a massive inspiration to me in terms of my video quality and how I think about structuring and editing my videos. I just love what she does. After garnishing the onigiri and putting some ginger and wasabi on the plate as well, I tried to unwrap it from the plastic wrap but realized I hadn't cut right through it, and so the first piece kind of went all over the place. It was a mess. On Tuesday evenings, my hubby and I have a raid with our guild. We play World of Warcraft Classic, and that starts around 8 o'clock. Because this starts at 8 o'clock, I wanted to get an early start on making dinner, so that way we had eaten before we sat in front of the computer for 2 hours. And so I decided to make this Mongolian lamb and put it in wraps. This was a pre-marinated packet of lamb that I bought from the grocery store, so I didn't actually have to season it, and it made the meal very, very quick and easy to put together. All I had to do was use the cut up vegetables that I had from the previous day's barmy croissants, the little bit of onion and mushrooms that I had put in the fry pan earlier, and then add the meat and a little bit of tzatziki as well, just to freshen it up even more. I think eating meat is a very important part of having a balanced diet, but obviously I understand that there are people out there who don't tolerate it or have problems with it ethically, morally, and environmentally. I do try and make sure that everything I purchase is Australian grown or Australian made, but also I have a look at whether it's ethically sourced or grown as well as environmentally sustainable. I think it's very important to think about not only what tastes good and what you like, but also what the impact of your food has on the rest of the world. Another day has dawned and I have skipped another breakfast and headed straight to lunch. Today I am making some noodle soup, but I'm going to make it in the bowl as opposed to making it in the saucepan. I wanted to see if I could still create the same delicious springtime noodle soup that I've made in a previous video, however make it in the bowl with just the boiled water from the kettle, see if I could speed the process up. Again, utilising leftovers from the previous night, the ingredients for this soup included the spring onions that I had chopped up, as well as the mushroom and onion fried up mixture that I made, and a bit of the Mongolian lamb. I also had cracked an egg in there to see if it would cook with just the boiling water from the kettle, and I only used the chicken flavour seasoning that came with the noodles to give this soup a little bit of flavour. This is because I knew that when I added the water to the Mongolian lamb mixture, it would blend in with the water as well. And I also was going to put a few sauces on top, like this sriracha and this sweet soy sauce. So all of those ingredients would ensure that the soup would be flavorful. Both my husband and I have gotten into playing Wordle lately. We sometimes help each other out, sometimes we try and do it individually. During lunch today, we were trying to work on the Wordle for the day. If you don't know what Wordle is, I will happily link the game in the description box below. The soup turned out to be just as delicious as my springtime noodle soup. Again, if you want to see that recipe, please click on the card linked in the video. I will also have a link down in the description. Unfortunately, the hot water wasn't hot enough to cook the eggs. However, the raw egg did add a delicious flavour to the noodles and the soup. Following lunch, it was time to finally put the clips together that I had been shooting over the previous week. It was very nice to sit down, relax, and get a little bit of video editing done. Then it was time to head on out for our afternoon walk. I definitely needed it to walk off all those calories that I had put in my body from that soup, and the day was absolutely gorgeous. both my hubby and I decided that we would go for a swim in the afternoon. The water was the perfect temperature and so refreshing. On Wednesdays, my hubby and I like to go to the local pub and participate in the weekly trivia. It's just the two of us on our team and we're getting better with every week. And today we thought we would have some refreshing beer and lemon lime and bitters.
Ultra wide.
Ultra wide?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could film it on.
You can when you press the ultra wide button.
No way.
Yeah, stole it.
And because we were at the pub, of course we had to order chicken schnitty. We both got the same chicken schnitty, chips and some pepper sauce. I would have loved to have filmed some of the shenanigans that go on during trivia, but unfortunately we can't have our phones out for any reason because that's considered cheating. So just take my word for it. It was a very fun night filled with lots of laughs. And that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you found some inspiration for your summer or springtime meals coming up in the months ahead. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please press the like button. If you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed as well. The channel is finally growing again after 2 or 3 years of stagnation. So thank you so much to those who have subscribed. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching. Peace out.